Hey everybody, this is your boy Jave on the Very Opinionated Show. We're going to be going in on tonight. I have people coming in. Hopefully they'll go ahead and chime in now. Oh, wow. All right, we got Max. Hey, what's going on?
How's it going?
Oh, real good. Uh, you sounding good, and I got a few more people coming. Hopefully they'll go ahead and chime in. Uh,
I thought that's awesome.
uh,
I
man,
look
we are.
for some new guests.
Me too. Me too. Of course, we talked about the difference between uh, religiosity and spirituality, and of course,
Right.
spirituality to me always gonna come out on
Oh,
top.
you're breaking up kind of. I don't know why.
Oh wow! Can you hear me now? How is it now?
Like the screen. Okay, because like you were frozen for a second. You were like kind of off the. You were totally
Okay,
off. Like it just froze. So maybe it's just like the service in general. I guess
probably
maybe that's why.
probably so. Yeah, it's this. Of course, it's been raining all day,
Yeah,
so
yeah, you're kind
that
of
that
breaking up again slowly.
yeah.
Like the picture freezes.
Let me try something right quick.
Okay.
Let me try this. Uh, and I know you can hear me now, uh, real well. Uh, now,
Yeah.
can you?
I can hear you, but it's still staticky. It's like uh, the same stuff happens when I'm, let's say, trying to FaceTime my mom or something like that. Same kind of stuff. Yeah, now
Oh
you
my!
muted your mic.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, tonight, still, regardless, we're gonna have to talk about something. Your mom,
Right.
she wanted to get into it, but of course, we got to do a show. We kind of been slacking in.
Yeah. She seemed kind of upset, but I was like, okay, it's just her.
I mean, but in order to get the information out there, and or as well, I say our opinion out there,
Mm,
we need to you know do the shows instead of waiting, you know,
right.
and and of course it's a I believe it's a decent subject to talk about, the difference between spirituality and religion, and because what religion does is stalls people.
That's
It
what
it go ahead.
it stalls their progress pretty much. That's
Right.
what the religion does. It stalls people's progress because they're only told a certain thing. They're only told to obey God, listen to God, follow the Bible. They're never
Correct.
necessarily taught, how to know themselves, to know what's inside of them.
Right.
And a lot of teachings out there, a lot of occult teachings teach you that you are the creator of your own reality. You are
Right.
the God. There is a God inside of you, which is
And
something that a religion that doesn't want you to know. A lot of those religious places like churches, organizations, oh, they're like, oh, you're supposed to read the Bible and know your 10 commandments and give
correct.
10% to the church, or 15, and like do all this stuff. But it does very little for person's spirituality. It does very little for actually people understanding who they are and their
Correct.
own capabilities. It kind of takes them away from their true self in a sense.
Right.
And that's just something that I don't agree with. There's a difference between religion and spirituality, and religion is kind of is a business. That's what it is. There's plenty of religions out there, and they're all the business. They all have what, like a certain temple, and they have the leader of the temple, and you have all
Right.
these people coming into the temple contributing, financially, oftentimes, because always you need a new church or a new mosque or whatever. And who's going to pay for that? Of course, people.
Right.
It's people's contribution, and oftentimes I think people are treated unfairly, especially people who go to church or any type of religious gathering in that sense, because they're being used. But whenever
Well,
they're in trouble, oftentimes those religious places, they actually act the way any business does, is like, why should I give you money, which is something
right.
completely I don't agree. Because if you have people who are devoted to this fellowship, to this church, and they help you build this church and all of this other stuff, they participate. If they need some money or they're in need, there's no reason why you should be saying no. You should be like, here you go,
Right.
here's money. I see you struggling. I'm not going to be going into your business, but if you need money, I'll give you. That's how
Right.
it should
Right.
be,
Right.
because
I
all
mean,
those.
and it's some. I would say I would come to the aid of some, but I would say the majority of the churches that I have experienced, and I through the years, following my dad up and down the road, and through my personal experiences, they really don't, you know, uh, do a lot for their members, you know,
Mhm.
uh, and sometimes even not for the community. I'm not saying those big churches, and I think they have to show certain numbers to say at least look if we giving something. But I would say this here: at the end of the day, it's always poor people
Right.
who get fixated on the religious part.
I agree.
Uh, it seems like rich people, they don't really get caught up into all of that. They look to
Right.
themselves, they rely on themselves, and that means for me is like they're not doing a lot of praying to a deity that you know we consider. Well, you pray, poor people, you pray for it. We pray for a miracle. We pray, you know, uh, uh somebody gonna come through for us on a financial breakthrough. As always, but the rich seems don't to do all of that. Why
Well,
is that?
the key word you said there is they're told to do. See,
Hmm.
religious people are going to do what they're told to do, but spiritual people are going to do what is right, what feels right to them.
All right,
That's the
now
whole
that's
point. That just kind of goes and dismantles the whole point of a church, because church is supposed to be a foundation for spiritual growth, which oftentimes it's
correct.
not. I cannot necessarily say that 100% of churches are like that, but a lot of those churches are exactly like that. They don't provide you with a spiritual foundation, with the connecting with your higher self, with your soul. You're only taught these things from the book,
Right.
and but what do these actually preachers and teachers really teach people? What is it? How do they exactly affect people's life? What is exactly that how do they touch your soul, your spiritual self?
And from what I heard, and of course of what I experienced, but uh, you get a person who probably was on drugs or alcohol, something like that, or you know, they just got caught up in doing bad things, and they go to church, and they like turn around. Of course, we know that God done it, uh, but of course, uh, it's always they're going to try to put their church or their name in front and say, look what we done
Right.
done, and we know that's not the case. Uh, I remember
That's a
reading.
bit braggadocious, particularly for a church that's supposed to do good without necessarily bragging about it. Isn't it kind of like advertising in a sense?
Well, it
I
is.
don't
It
I don't
is.
really agree with that, man.
Come to our church and you
That's
see where
just kind
you
of
can
BS.
you can get a breakthrough. Look, I read this article where this couple, and I can't remember exactly where the location, but it was here in the United States where they attended this church for about 5 years. They was given a tithe faithfully and everything. And for whatever reason, and don't know why, but they said they wasn't spiritually growing. Now I
Right.
didn't heard the story. I talked to other deacons. They were like, "Well, maybe it was them." And I was like, "Wait a minute now, hold up.
Mm.
If they felt that this church, wasn't, spiritually, helping them to grow, what they did was requested all of their tithe money back. I think it was over $100,000.
Oh, I believe I heard actually that story.
Right, right. And they took the church to court and actually won the case. Now,
Not
hey,
surprised. That
yeah,
doesn't
I was surprised, but hey, you got a church non-profit organization. So of course, they're like, we'll give them people their money back because y'all was supposed to be providing adequate service to these individuals to help them spiritually grow. That's why
right.
they was a part of your affiliation or your church for the long 5 years, and they just felt that they wasn't growing spiritually. Now,
Right.
hey, everybody's different. They know themselves. You know, I could probably say the same thing where I was like, hey, I wasn't spiritually growing. I want all my time money back.
Mm.
And eventually they got all their money back. Now that was an unusual story for me because I never heard someone suing to get their time money, but apparently you can do that.
Hey man,
So,
so watch after this show. There might be a whole lot of lawsuits out there.
well, hey, it's now that is not our opinion. I know this is a true story, but I just can't
Right.
remember exactly where. And yeah, it's kind of I would say yeah, shame on us for not doing the exact research. But however, I know one thing. God did not call for us to be getting helicopters and all this other stuff on the backs of working class people.
You damn
Period.
right. That's right. That's right.
I gets up 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, and go to work.
Right.
And you're not. I'm not going to give 10% of my earnings when God required for me to take care of the Garden of Eden first. And the Garden of Eden is consists of your family. That's
Right.
who you take care of first. And I don't think God will hold you accountable for that. And that's what you're doing.
Mm.
Now, hey, I mean, we can go on about that, but I think the main core of us talking about the difference between religiosity and spirituality, me personally, I consider myself more spiritual than religious, and I think religion
Right.
is more a good friend of mine, daughter. She said, religion teaches you practices and teaches you how to follow rules, but spirituality is more of you more free to make your decision and follow what is right and what is right in your spirit to do.
Right.
That was a good answer, and I believe that's me. That's how I follow. But it took me a while to get there because I didn't understand the full concept. Why? I just wasn't taught. Period. I just
Right.
was not taught
Well,
that.
well, I can say that you're not the only one. You're not the only one person because I went to church for like the longest time, and then I just saw things in a different light. I guess with
Right.
life experiences and everything that happened, it just gave me a different perspective on religion and the concept of the religion and the concept of going to church and following all these rules and doing all these rituals and so
Right.
forth. And it just didn't make no sense. It just didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, we're all doing all this, but for what, really?
Right.
It's it doesn't provide. For me, religion didn't provide me the spiritual foundation that I found on my own.
Right.
So that way I was like, okay, one thing for sure, I know I believe in God. I felt his presence, I felt his work in my life. Now, do I need to go to church to to feel his presence or acknowledge what he's done for me? No. Do I need to go and give 10%, 15% to the church to be grateful for it? No. Do I need to keep reading these texts and or listen to these old guys out there how I should be living my life? No. It's
Right.
about it's like I said, like this, I'm a spiritual person, and it's about knowing yourself, being in tune with your inner nature, your inner spirit, and the spirit that's out there. You know, you can call it the universe, you can call it the God, whatever you want to call it, but that connection doesn't die. It only gets stronger when you start accepting yourself and learning more about yourself. But church doesn't provide you with that.
You know,
Unfortunately, throughout church teachings, I haven't found much that that had influenced me in such way as it did my own spiritual awakening.
right, right. And I think all because they probably just wasn't taught as well. But I know some that have attended seminary school and they know the truth. They know all the ins and outs. A lot of people, when I try to explain to them, I had took a few classes uh at seminary school. I mean, they even, especially for the African American preachers, they had a what they call a class called homiletics 101. They teach you how to hoop or to uh, basically sing the verses as you speaking. And what that does is anybody that knows in the African American churches, they would say they go on raw emotions. So
Right.
you get the people riled up, for whatever reason, they tend to give more at the end of service. And and it was a proven, practice, and they found out that it worked, but I think it's a big difference uh when it comes to religion, because more poor people take religion seriously. When I say seriously, they take it seriously. Others than those who is rich and as well as who is spiritually woke,
Mhm.
they see things with a third eye. Their
Well,
decision making is totally different than those who are just religious.
well, I disagree with the term woke.
But that
There's a difference
just,
between woke crowd and people who are actually spiritually awake. There's a big difference actually between those two. So people who say they're woke
okay.
and people who are actually spiritually awake, two completely different things, in my opinion.
Okay, come on, go into more detail, because we need to know what is the
People
difference.
who say they're woke, they think that they go, against the grain, and they think differently, and in a sense that, their type of thinking and doing things always spiritual. It's awakening, or it's,
Right.
the right way that it should be, which is something that they just following the crowd. They're doing the same thing that everybody
Oh,
else is
okay.
doing. So when people say, "Oh, we're woke," no, that's just it's a downwash, or I think degrading in a sense, comparing it to people who are actually spiritually awake. People who are spiritually awake, they don't necessarily need to shove that down anybody's throat or need to prove any point.
Right.
They're content with themselves and the universe around them. They're aware that they're own creators, and they don't need to follow the crowd, the woke crowd, to
Correct.
actually, show just how spiritually in tune they are and how spiritually
Right.
gifted they are.
And normally, I think here, and definitely in America, we tend to follow the crowd, and the reason why is because it's easy, to follow the crowd, but it's, to me, it's already a challenge for those who have no type of background of religious bringing up as well as spiritual bringing it up. But for those who are more religious, I find out they tend to take uh, the word of God literally, and they will
Right.
follow to a T. Uh, Is it a setback? Yes, it is. I believe so. Because what you're doing is you're not allowing yourself to be in tap with your spiritual awakening, simply because you have not allowed God to be activated in you. I believe God is in everybody. It's just we choose not to allow it to be activated in us.
I,
And
I
how, in order for me to allow God to be activated in me, is that I have to begin to find out who is God.
well,
And if you don't know who his God is, and I think I think that's the problem with a lot of misconception about they try to define religion
right.
to spirituality, and it's totally two different things.
Well, that's the whole point of spiritual awakening. Excuse me, because spiritual awakening happens when, in order for you to experience spiritual awakening, there's something so horrible, so bad has to happen to you to shake you to your core to really
Wow.
wake up the God particle within you. And that's what most of the time what spiritual awakening is.
Right, right.
No, it's not something you find in a church, or you go you go to the after church, to school, and you get it there. No, oftentimes the spiritual awakening happens. It it's God awakening you up, pretty much. Those are those
Wow.
really painful moments in our lives that we go through, where it shatters that illusion that we've been presented with, or lived with our entire lives. It shakes off the
Correct.
ego. It puts it in its place, pretty much. That's what it does. And it allows your true spirit to be released within you.
That is correct. It's already hard to just live this life anyway.
Mm,
Uh, and for whatever reason, you know, uh, what, because I would need, you would say this, my spirituality is what is going to aid me. Uh, I think religion is like a base, but it's just like if I read something on the religious level, whether it's the Bible, whether it's uh, uh, a, a daily news, whatever, to give me encouraging words, that's all it's doing, but it's not actually showing me practical or how to. It's just speaking words, and a lot of people need to know
well,
how to. Go ahead.
sorry, you were breaking up for a second. You kind of froze, so I didn't.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out if you can hear me, because
Yeah, I can.
I only
Yeah,
feel
I
like
can.
static. I can barely hear you.
Wow. Okay, I can hear you. It just I don't know what. Trying to. I guess it's because of
You're still
weather.
kind of like breaking up on my end.
Yeah, you going back static again. Yeah, I think it's the weather again. Let me just do this here real quick. Uh,
Man, again, you're breaking up. This is crazy, though.
yeah, I know it's weather. I think it's the weather from the outside. What it probably done
Yeah, I
is,
agree.
because it'll be I hear you fine, and then all of a sudden it probably won't. You know.
Right. So, can you hear me? You can hear
Yeah,
me? You can see me now. Well,
yeah,
so
I can
what
hear
was
you
I
and see
gonna?
you real well.
Well, what
No,
was
but
I
go
gonna
ahead.
say is, when we're talking about spirituality, when we're talking about religion, is all the religions stem from one religion, and the oldest religion that we know of is Zoroastrianism. And
Okay.
Zoroastrianism, there's a term called Zoroastrianism, which pretty much states that that there's duality in everything.
Right.
So there's duality, the good and the bad. And throughout all the other religions, we see the same concept, the same thing: Adam and
Right.
Eve, good and bad. It's the fight with good and evil, and it's within us. Zoroastrianism focuses more on an individual and shows you that you are the God and the devil at the same time.
Wow.
Well,
But you
we
know
just
what? Well, I mean, do you agree that we have that? Now, me personally, now, yes, I'm going to say it like that. I think we all have that part of us. Uh, I would say the good and evil, because it's not every day I walk in the spirit. Like, oh, I'm the type of just be floating around in the air and send
right,
all these words of wisdom, stuff like that. So you have that fleshly side of me. Uh, you
right,
know, and I would say that's just the human side, because uh, uh, in the Gnostic Bible, it talks about how Jesus did some things out of the flesh, and had to, at the request of his mother, to bring, his playmates back to life, because he didn't like the way how, they was playing with. So he
right,
killed them, and had to bring them back to life, and all of the other, whether it was animals, or I know it was a story about one of his playmates, and his mom has told him, bring that child back to life, and to bring him back to life. So we have, I believe, every individual have that fleshly moment, or that weak moment in life. And did I say if it's a wrong thing? No, that's just who you are. But I think the religious folk, you will be sent to hell immediately. You going straight to hell from the religious community than the spiritual
well,
community.
what we're seeing from Jesus is you can still be spiritual and flip tables around and whip people if it comes to down to
That it
that.
it it can come down to that, and I guess it's okay.
Right, but it's
I
also
guess it's okay.
the
Or,
spiritual teachings, of all
but
these
go ahead, go ahead.
wise figures, these great men, that throughout the history, what they've taught us is, that everything is energy. Everything that we say is said with
Right,
energy, particular frequency, and the let me just give you an example. The word, this phrase abracadabra, you see it in most magicians' acts, but it actually stems from ancient Aramaic language, and it translates roughly to I will I will create as I speak, or as I speak I will create. And it's interesting to point
right.
that it was, thousands of years ago, but they were just so very well aware of the power our words had on us and on our surroundings. So
Correct.
I speak, I will create. Why do you have people with the negative concept of themselves, and they talk a negative, talk a negative, and just have that negative mindset of themselves? And guess what? They keep having all these issues and troubles and negative things happening to them. You know, everything stems from within, and that's very
You know what?
important.
And that sounds real familiar with a couple of people that I know. It's like they always have a stroke of bad luck. Like
Right.
I mean, it does not matter on a good day, and it's a
Right.
good day. They have a stroke of bad luck. Oh my God, is you got something behind you where it nothing in life will not allow you to have nothing to good happen to you. Uh
Right.
I don't know, like, that's a good point you brought up. I mean, for me, I'm always in the mellow, chill state, and when people look at me, they just think I'm always in a relaxed mode. But of course, I have my inner demons going on within me.
Right.
Nothing detrimental to the public or myself or people that I love. It just, man, I just be warned against myself sometimes.
Right.
Uh, I'm an overthinker. That's just who I am. But I noticed last couple of years, I would say year and a half, I've been feeling just over anxious. And of course the spirit man is telling me you don't have to be over anxious, just relax, let everything comes on it on. And I'm getting back into my natural uh feeling, because normally I can feel certain things that is not right, or it's not kind of off a little bit. In other words,
Right.
the old people would say, your spirit feel kind of vexed, and that's how it is when I get around, especially at work. my spirit get real vexed, it get real heavy. It's like something
You,
is
I guess
pulling
you
me.
pick up on the energy of other people and all the
Correct.
negativity and words that other people have. You just pick up on it.
Right. And it's not a
You're
good
like
feeling.
highly
Even
sensitive to energies.
yeah, and it's I would say it's not a good feeling, but it's just a gift that God has given me. However, even with uh some of the children that I'm around, they as soon as they exit the bus, man, all of a sudden I get a lot of energy, like my energy coming. But if they in my presence, like they draining me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm driving, sleeping.
Right,
I'm
right,
thinking I'm tired, and it's not necessarily the case. Because as soon as they get off the bus, it's like the kryptonite just left me. Just okay, I'm no
right.
longer around that bad energy, and I feel revived. You know, yeah, that's what I said. I was like, oh man, what's going on here? But I understand the concept now. You know,
Mhm. Oftentimes, you just got to figure out a way to, protect your own energy from,
right, right,
other people's, because your gift is like being able to feel what other people feel, which is a kind of crappy gift in a sense. Like, it sucks to feel other people's feelings, man. You don't want to be feeling nobody else's feelings but your own. But then you
going
just
wrong.
do, and then what is exactly, how do you go about it? It's just something you have to deal with and you have to live with. uh but that's just part of, being a spiritual person. You pick up on other things way quicker than a lot of people would.
You know, I was telling my brother this morning when I was talking to him, uh, and I hope he's going to come on. We're going to try to ride it until he get here because he was out
Hmm.
rounding about. And I told him this morning. I said, you know, what I noticed. Maybe I said maybe about 6, 7, 8 years ago. You
Hmm.
know, only thing I would say uh, the devil can actually like tempt me on. Oh, and I ain't gonna say tempt. I'm not gonna even use that word. To get me on is through my health to slow me down. I say it like that, but nothing
Hmm.
else. Can't get me on nothing else. You know, finance. I don't be worrying about that stuff. You know, God always provide for me. Uh, but he's always attacking my health. And it was the point where I started noticing it was slows me down from accomplishing or finishing or doing certain things, and it it had it had kind of stalled me in a sense. So you know, I just learned over the years, how to identify when it takes place. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, I know what's going on, and I know who it is, and and I know how to deal with it. Some people they they may they may be experiencing the same thing I have and don't know why. And but
Right.
I would tell you, if that's the case, if you're experiencing something where you have no explanation and you like, I'm doing everything right, I'm trying, and it's just like every time I end up getting sick, I end up can't finishing this or I can't complete that. Well, what it is that Satan find you a threat. So that's the only area of life that he can hinder you on. So
Right.
you cannot move forward, and that's just my observation. Go
Well,
ahead.
yeah, that's something I agree with. I think we all have like a different, I would say, soft spots. We all kind of have a different, weak points where the devil will attempt to, use against us to prevent us from
Right.
accomplishing our goals, do the things that we want to do, or in general preventing us from accomplishing our, life's purpose. That's just
Correct.
the point of the devil is, this is his playground. The earth is his playground. God allowed him to have earth to tempt
That
people.
is true. That
That
is
that
true.
that that, that that's the whole point. I think that's the whole point of, the devil. We all have different spots. Some people have mental health issues, and devil will play on that. Some people have in
Right.
general health issues. And that was like, okay, that's the weak point I see, you know, and they're gonna do it. So, and some people, you know, have spiritual issue, have a weak spirit, and in that
Right.
case, I think I can only maybe connect it to, you know, those are the people who get possessed, you know, by
Correct.
demons or different negative, sinister entities. But the most important thing out of all of this that we're discussing about, I just want all our viewers to get get out of all of this is that words have power, words have meaning. Everything that you say out there is a spell. So be kind, be thoughtful in your words. This is what I would like to share with people. This is what I like to do for my little sister. I love for us to stand in front of the mirror, and I want to tell her, see that girl right there? She's beautiful. And I'm like, say it, I'm beautiful. So she says,
Correct.
I'm beautiful. I tell her, say it, I'm strong. She says, I'm strong. I tell her, say I'm smart. She's like, I'm smart, and she keeps clapping her hands, you know, and with the joy and laughter. And I'm doing that because that's programming, but that's a positive
Correct.
programming because I want her
Positive
to
program.
know her value. That I want her to instill her with those positive qualities and values that I know she can do anything. That she's not going to be hindered by small obstacles, but she's going to know how to overcome them. I want
Right.
her to have the strong mind as a strong woman. I want her to be able to do anything she desires, anything that she thinks of. I want her to be capable of doing, and that stems from paying attention what we expose our kids to.
Correct.
You know, the type of influence we want to, I guess, imprint on the kids or your grandkids or your siblings, and that's what I believe in, and that's what I'm very mindful. I try to be very mindful around, you know, my little sister, and I also want her to really grow up with a positive and healthy mindset, knowing how to set up positive boundaries, you know, saying no without feeling guilty about it. And
Correct.
that's just part of, I guess, spiritual teaching in a sense, which you don't necessarily get from church. But they tell you, oh, somebody slapped you. Well, turn the other cheek. Okay, let me. How about you give me your cheek? Let me
Yeah.
hit you
Yeah.
upside the
Yeah. It's
head.
just,
See
you
how
know,
that works. You want to turn on the other cheek?
just, well, it's just instructions. It's practices and instructions, because I know in certain, you know, different religion sects, you know, you have those who have to cover up. You have uh, those who don't wear the makeup, and they only wear the long dresses, stuff like that. And those are, to me, though, those are practices. Uh,
Right.
we don't look at the inner man. That's why I said, I always say that when I talk with people about this subject, is that the difference between religiosity and spirituality is that religiosity deal with the outside and spirituality deal with the inside. And
Mm-hmm.
and we have a lot of folks who look good, who look religious, but they not religious. Neither they are spiritual.
Right.
So they just have a form of spirituality, but deep down they are not, because they have this outer shell saying, look, I go to church every day, or I go to church every Sunday. Look,
But they don't believe it.
I read my Bible, but they don't believe it. I do say a prayer every day. I say the Our Father's prayer, but they don't live by the principles.
Well,
So,
that's
you
the
know,
same thing for the priests, pretty much. Oh,
it, yeah,
like
same thing.
have like a side piece in every town they go to, but they tell you not to commit sin, that
Right.
you shouldn't cheat on your woman, or that you should get married. Well, MF, you're married and you're cheating on your wife with like 10 other women. Like, what? Who the fuck are you to tell me what am I supposed to do or not to do?
And
Seriously,
because of
you're
that,
gonna
that is a
preach me to
control.
sin?
That is
That's
control. It's about control. Now, like that, and we know religion is population control. Let's go with that. And in order to control the masses, especially poor people, you have to present them with religion. It's crazy, is that's why a rich person would get off from a crime faster than a poor person, because they are not held by boundaries. They got their
Mm.
money. That's who they are driven by. With a poor person, they don't have nothing. Say that's all they have is God, or the only that they have is the religion, and find out that the religion will even come to their rescue. So,
I
you know,
think, yeah, sorry to interrupt, but that just the way you describe it, it just sounds like a perfect sales pitch. What when you think about these what these companies do, they want to provide a value to you, something that you find valuable and are willing to give him
it's
money
a
for it.
shame. It's a
Oh,
shame, but
sure, we're gonna give you
you know,
religion, man. Guess what?
you know.
You don't go to hell. You go to heaven.
Now
But
watch
first,
this. What's the
you
sale?
gotta give me some money, and you gotta come here, and you gotta tell me all your sins at least once a year. You gotta confess to me.
Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow, and I'm gonna say this here. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this because you wonder who who always goes to those sales in the store is women. If there's a sale, there's a woman that's going. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put it out there. But watch this. Who always attend church? Women. They always gonna go to church. When I said they flock to church house, they flock to church house. It's for a
And I
reason.
and
Why is
I
they
think
flocking to church house like that? You know, that's just a question I want to throw out there. But
why do they?
I'm still waiting.
I think that's the
Go ahead.
same reason. I think that's the same reason why so many women
Oh, you
think
getting
of
a
like getting married as
bad
like one of the
connection.
biggest accomplishment in their life. It's that programming, cultural programming. Oh
Well, of
God,
course.
please give me a good Christian man. Don't matter if he slaps me around and bounces my skull off a damn pavement, but as long as he's Christian.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty horrible the way I describe it, but that's a lot of how it's perceived, Or the women say, "Oh, I want me a Christian man." How about you find yourself a good man, regardless of what his religion is? How about you find a man who's going to treat you right?
It,
That's my point.
correct. And guess what? And
What?
I guarantee you, and I guarantee you, most of the good men have been overlooked by women who said, if you're not a part of this religion that I'm in, I have to overlook you. And I guarantee you how several women have overlooked good men. I'm talking about literally good men. They're not into the religious part of church life, but
Right.
they have a spiritual conscience about themselves. And you have women have overlooked those good men, and they missed out and end up getting a rascal who treat
And
them ain't doing what he needs to be doing, and all because the man just wasn't a part of his religion. Because look, let me just say this here, because I think I did tell I had shared this with someone. This young lady I met, this was like 20 something years ago. Real nice. I mean, she was attractive. I was attracted to her. But the only thing about it is she was a Jehovah's Witness. I wasn't. Well, again, I'm in my 20s and I had enough sense to know, like, look, I'm not too keen on man created religion. I'm not into that,
right.
you know. And but because I was not a Jehovah Witness or elder, as they say, or one of the brothers from the Jehovah Witness, she couldn't even date me. She couldn't even only be friends now. We can be friends all day long, but she couldn't marry or even attempt to date me or nothing pertaining to us coming together as one.
Oh,
That was out of the
that's
question.
a damn shame, man.
But watch
That's a
this.
damn
But
shame. That
she had the hots for me. And I'm just throwing that out the hots. But she was
right.
really attractive. She was a real nice person. But because of the religion, and I'm saying I'm looking at her when she's saying all of this, and I'm saying you've been brainwashed.
Well,
Now that's just me, but because if man is telling you because he's not in our religious sect, you shouldn't have no type of connection or you know
and
really ties to this person.
I'm
That's
really
crazy.
glad that I'm really good. That's pretty insane, man. To me, it just doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense. But
yeah.
I'm certain I'm really glad that we're having this conversation because that goes even further out. Because I come from a place where if you're a certain ethnicity, you can't be just going in, or it's frowned upon that you're dating somebody or marry somebody from different other nationality or ethnicity that's different than
Right.
you. You get
Correct.
scolded, you get all these kind of nasty, you get called nasty words and names and all of this and traitor because it's horrible the way what religion has done for people. Religion has
Correct.
divided people, and if you think about it on a very basic level, you figure out that
Keep
religions,
talking.
they're all different religions, and everybody's arguing how to worship one God. When you think about it, God is universal. There's only one entity. There's not numerous. However, all these people are saying, "Oh, my religion is the right religion," and I'm thinking, what gives you the right to say you have the right religion? If you understand anything, if you're all interconnected, we all come from God. If we all come from God, we come from one God. That means we're all connected, and there's no reason why religion should step in your way of loving somebody or being acceptive of somebody that people are telling you is different from you.
Right.
God is love. We all come from love. We all have love within us. We are all love. Then how can you tell me, oh, this person is not part of God's love because they are different nationality or different religion? It's such BS to me. To me, that's where the
Yeah.
discontent is created between
Right.
religiosity and spirituality.
There you go. Because at the end of the day, it's going to always lead back to my main question. I told y'all this is man created. Man created this stuff. God didn't say, God didn't have it didn't have a word into this, what man had put before the people. And the people really believe that God said this. And I'm saying, Lord have mercy. Just
Well,
Lord, just have to shake my head because it's first of all, Max, it don't even sound right. It don't even, if you're just using common sense, it just don't even sound right.
well,
Let's just say it like that.
it honestly, it makes zero sense to some people who are ignorant and brainwashed. Oh, that makes perfect sense. But to people who are open-minded, who are good people, they see it otherwise.
Right.
It's to me. There was a point I was trying to make, but I kind of lost my thought in a sense. But I
It'll
know it
come
was
back.
good.
It'll come
Uh,
back.
come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
What I was trying to say is, if there's a term, it's called omnism, and
Okay.
omnism means that is the belief that there's no one right religion, but there's some truth in every and each religion out there.
Correct. And
And
that's based on experiences. That's
and
why right.
exactly. And also, I remember a while back, maybe a few years ago, I was watching this talk show, and there was this guy who became a monk, right? Who became an, I believe, was it Orthodox? Yeah, he was like an Orthodox monk. I don't necessarily know if it was like Romanian or Russian or something else, but he kind of told the people a story about his journey from being just a regular guy to deciding to be a monk. And when the host asked him, do you believe there's one right religion? And although he he was a monk of orthodoxy, which orthodoxy is a religion, he never said, oh no, orthodoxy is the right religion. He only said was there are shorter ways and then there are longer ways. But he never
Hmm.
went on to say there's only one true religion,
Right.
which
And
is
it's
something
it
really mind opening when you think about it.
It
There's
is. It
no
is.
one right religion. There, we're
Hmm.
all connected, but there's no
So
one right religion.
what does that tell you? It tells you a
Religion is,
lot.
yeah, it tells you a whole lot. The way we are living our lives, the cultural programming, where does it stem from?
Right.
How it's spread on to the next generations. It
Well,
just goes to show how it affects almost every aspect of us. And which and let me just throw this in. It's ironic you have all these Christian tours, to Africa, building churches and teaching people the good word and Bible, but people are starving.
still
How about
starving.
you? How about you feed people over there, and then we can talk about Jesus and all the good stuff he done for people. How about
Right.
you feed the people first instead of trying to feed them the word of God? How can you feed somebody the word of God while they're starving?
And
That's a
you know
damn
what?
shame.
And the cliche of that, the reason I say because they always want to use the two fishes and five loaves of bread analogy. Uh, Said Jesus did not send the people away hungry, but that's why he had to find lunch for them. Of course, they said he did the miracle and multiplying and everything, and all of a sudden, everybody was fed. Off of two fishes and five loaves of bread. We know how the story goes. I mean, but
Right.
if the truth be told, uh, me personally, uh, it's to me. I just don't believe the church have done enough when it comes to the people of God. And I said people of God, and you have people who is more considered poor who's following God. And
Hmm.
that's through just observation. And I don't think a person who's rocket scientist can figure that out. A rich person, to my people who is filthy rich, you're not going to have them standing on a corner with a Bible or having a signs out to my it come to the end of the world, or you must confess Jesus as your Lord and Savior, or you must submit to Allah and all this. You're not going to have those individuals. It's always those who are followers. Let me just say that. Let me just
Well, I'm glad that you pointed out. I believe I remembered what I was gonna say.
all
Jesus
right.
never
Good.
went around saying, "Oh, there's only right religion." Just remember, he never went on saying, "Oh, you guys, Judaism is the right religion. If you're not Jewish, you're going to hell." Just think about it. That's that. He never went on saying there's one right religion. He never said, "Oh, you guys, too bad, y'all got to be Jewish now. Jewish is the right religion. Judaism is the right religion." No,
Yeah,
he
he never
never
said
said
that.
that.
Yeah.
And
He,
I'm
go
yeah.
ahead.
Go
Go ahead.
ahead.
I know. I see that you're excited about it because I mean, which he
Yeah.
didn't. He did not say it. I just believe, as I stated to my brother earlier this morning, is that the people created God. Man created God. God didn't create man because we have put God out of the garden so many times in our life. Pretty much the God that is presented before the people today, it is what man have created. And
Well, that's
if you had
because
go ahead.
yeah, that's because people have lost their touch with God. They don't know God because they've lost their way. They lost throughout ages. They just descended from God. I mean, there was the gap was created between them and God, and that
Nah,
most of the people in this age don't really know God.
they don't. They don't. Because uh, is there any time spent with God? No, I don't think so. I'm always if I have to use that relationship example, we're like, hey man, in order to get to know a person, you got to spend time with them.
Yeah.
So do people spend time with God? No, they don't.
No.
Oh, I talk to God. No, you don't. Because if you really do, if all the religions actually talk to God, I guarantee you, God will tell you a different story on the stuff that we've been doing. This world will be way more better off. You won't have any killings going on, not only towards each other, you won't be acting ugly towards each other, you won't be mistreating your children. It's a lot of stuff that is simply can be avoided. We will not be doing it
Right.
at all.
I
Period.
agree.
But of course, you have naysayers who are going to say they beg to differ. But fine, for those who think this is a guessing game, keep living as the old folks used to keep on living. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to actually experience God one day. You're going to experience Him. Now, my thing is this here. When we ask God for something and we get the answer, do we really accept the answer that God give us?
Oftentimes, no. We're trying to double check. We're trying to be like, hold on. I wasn't necessarily sure about it. Let me hear that again. What did you say?
Well, we got to have our, but it's crazy. Watch this. We have an opinion on that part,
right?
But questioning religiosity, we're not gonna question that because we've been taught this. And if I can tell you, growing up, man, my grandmother was lived in Fort Worth, Texas, and man, first this show that don't you question God. See, we was taught that. Don't you question God. What's that sound like? You don't question the authorities in your city. So it's just like, since you don't question God, that means I accept whatever God does. Now, if I'm in a relationship with God, I think I have a right to ask God a question. Now, this is the key. Do I accept the answer that God give me? If I'm more mature enough to say, okay, well, God, thank you for giving me the answer. I accept it. Hey, you know everything, so let me just, follow what you say. But we don't do that. Now we begin to question it, like, oh, wait a minute now. I don't know about that, and, we don't have that really connection only with our religion. And then here we go to the priest or the pastor, the bishop.
Man. You know my opinion on pastors and priests. I think I stated it pretty clearly.
I already know. You already know mine, but hey, I understand. I get it. I just think for us who really understands and see the whole concept and knowing the difference, between having a spiritual life and a religious life. I used to have a religious life. My life is more spiritual now. I understand things. I hear God's voice more. But do people would think, oh no, he ain't spiritual because he ain't got no big old church. He's don't have no helicopter. He's not on TV and stuff like that. And if I don't have none of that, that means God must not be talking to me. So, and it's crazy. That's how we label people who think that actually God's talked to them because they have those things. Well, boy, y'all gonna be in for a rude awakening. It's coming. It's gonna be a proven fact. It's coming, but just keep on living, keep staying around, and watch what I tell you. This is information that I think people really need to get to understand, because Esby's gonna be somebody out there who think like we are, who are like, you know what, man, I know, I have these moments where I know God is speaking to me, but because I'm not a big televised evangelist, or I'm not a gospel singer, or someone who have influence on the public, people just ain't gonna believe what I say. I'm just a little small fish in a big old pond, stuff like that. And we look at other men and women of God who have all these followers and all this other stuff. Oh, your God must be anointing them, and people get caught up behind that stuff. And I say it's just religion. Yeah, it's just religion, because they don't understand the full concept of it.
It's a pretty quick swindle, though. Not gonna
It
lie,
is. It
it's
is.
pretty
It is a
difficult to.
hustle. I ain't gonna lie. It's a hustle because like I said, I was behind the scene for a while. It's a nice hustle. You know, if you trying to come up, it's a nice hustle. And I hate to say it like that,
Mm,
but it is what it is now. You know, it's a shame. I have to teach my daughter. The difference. In this type of society.
right.
And she's going to be asking a lot of questions, and I have to have a lot of answers.
Right.
And I can't sugarcoat nothing. But I mean, life that's what it is, and everything is done for a reason and purpose. And I hope somebody gets something out of this what we talked about tonight, or at least understand and say, hey, at least I'm not alone and thinking like I think. I'm thinking I was thinking wrong, but you're not. You're thinking like God wants you to think.
Yeah.
Not us. It's
Right.
God put this on your mind for a reason, and we just kind of help bringing it out.
Yeah, I hope
So
that people get something good and positive out of this, because I understand we kind of go from point to point on this topic, kind of scrambled in a sense because we get excited and we like to talk about
right,
things.
right,
But I,
yeah,
I really truly hope that all of our viewers tonight, they get a good sense of, get something good out of this, get some kind of good positive lesson. I just want every single one of you to know that we're all connected, we're all love, we all come from God. Every single one of us is part of a God. That means we are all part of the love. Be loving to each other, love each other, and don't let anybody tell you or prevent you from loving somebody because of any of the physical aspects or man-made aspects. Just love each other, love yourselves, and if you find that somebody, whoever that may be, that's treating you right, be with that person. Be
that's
with the
right.
person that brings you joy. That's what I want to tell people. We are all love, we are all one, and we're all in this together.
In it together. And with that being said, as I always say, if I'm always ending with a prayer, if I'm praying for my friends, I say I love you with the love of God. All right, it was a good show tonight with Maximilian, and I'm your host, the I Am Jay, signing off. We love you. Come back next week and please sign in or subscribe to our page. And again, we love you. We signing out.
We love you all. Good night.